What's going on, everybody? Everybody, what's going on? I am Tyrone Brown Jr. here on the live show, and I just want to thank each and every one of you all for joining us today. Thank you so much for all of your time, and we appreciate all of your support, continued support. For those of you that don't know who we are the Life Show Podcast. So what we need you to do is go ahead, click that share button, and get this cracking right now. All right, I have a special guest that is joining me today. And before we get to our guest, we just want to thank all of our followers on Facebook. We just surpassed the 1,900 follower mark. And man, I'm so super excited about that. So thank you. It means that you guys believe in us. So we appreciate you. Also, for those that follow us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, all of social media, thank you so much. Also, for those of you that just follow us on our website, which is www.thelifeshowpodcast.com. Thank you so much. And so, with all of that said and done, whatever radio station that you are listening to us from, we appreciate you for listening and tuning in. And thank you for the opportunity to come into your cars, into your homes, to your job, wherever you are. Thank you for the opportunity to hear our little banter on today. All right. And so, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I have a distinguished gentleman that is here today, Mr. Jason Craig. And Jason is the host and the creator of the Bring the Popcorn podcast. Yeah, y'all heard it. It wasn't no mistake. Okay, I didn't say BRING. I said BRANG. Bring the popcorn.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
So, Jason, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm doing very good. 3-day weekend coming up. Got tons of recording to do. Tons of TV I gotta watch this weekend. So it's gonna be a busy weekend, but I can't wait for it.
Man, that's great, man. And before we get started, look, happy 4th of July weekend to everybody that's listening, that may be tuning in, that may be watching. Thank you so much for, again, your continued support. Jason is, he's a podcaster, and Jason started in September of last year. Is that correct, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Man, so I want to get into, some of your hotter topics and some of the things that you all do on your podcast, the Bring the Popcorn podcast, because I know you do movie reviews. Also, you talk about what's going on, the hotter topics that are going on in the world that really people don't really pay too much attention to. But what are some of the hotter topics in the movie, things that you have done recently?
Well, as of recently, if you all are not living under a rock, then you know about DC and its problems, or Warner Brothers and its problems with keeping the actors in check. And Amber Heard and Ezra Miller are the two most recent actors who have been causing problems to the DC landscape. Ezra Miller I think he's still on the run from the police. I do not know. So with that going on, they have a $200 million movie that they have to release, but they don't. It sounds like it's going to be going to HBO Max instead of out in theaters, which it sucks because I'm a DC fan. I grew up loving Batman, grew up loving Superman, grew up loving the Justice League. So I was like, oh, maybe they're going to finally get a win. But Ezra Miller said nope. Amber Heard said nope. Now that's for movies. But
man.
Yeah.
It's hard out here, man. It's hard out here.
Yeah, and then as far as what's going on in the world, we just try to inform people what's going on with the world, because let's be honest, nobody watches TV, nobody watches the news anymore.
No,
So
no.
my motto I coined this weeks ago: I waste my time and money so you don't have to.
I like that, man. I really like that. Ooh, what did you say your motto was?
I waste my time and money so you don't have to.
Man, that springs volume right there. So we're gonna get into some of the movies that are that are out, and some of the ones that you have done your critiquing in, and what you think about these movies. Have you seen these, or these are movies that you have seen and that you are now giving reviews on? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what are first off, let's get into some of the worst movies. Okay, let's get into some of the worst movies that you have seen, and you're like, man, why in the world did they waste film on this? Why in the world would somebody pay for this? What is some of those movies that you really did not think that they really that they really captured the audience the way that they're supposed to?
All right, so let's see. I'm gonna just, because I've seen a lot of movies. I'm gonna just give you three.
Okay.
I'm gonna go from I guess the best worst movie to the absolute worst. Okay, so for my third one, I'm going to say The Matrix Revolution.
Wow.
I think it was whatever that Matrix movie that came out last year. It was not needed. We did not need it. They did not bring back the fight choreographer from the first set of movies. So it just looked like Keanu Reeves was just force pushing everything because they didn't know how to choreograph the moves. The story made no sense whatsoever.
Wow.
And it was a money grab from Warner Brothers. That's what it was, a money grab from Warner Brothers. Now, second movie, you know what? I'll give you four. You know what? I'll give you five.
Okay.
Uncharted the movie. I love the video games. I love the video games with the bottom of my heart. Nathan Fillion should have been the one playing Nathan Drake. I was cool with Tom Holland, but the story, it was generic and basic. And I'm sorry, Mark Wahlberg, he just does the same thing in every movie, and that does not fit the character of Sully. And they had the nerve to put Nolan North in the movie, the voice of Nathan Drake, for a Easter egg, and I was like, I could have went without that. Now, my third movie is this movie called The 355. It seemed interesting. It had Lupita Nyong'o, Penelope Cruz, great cast, and I'm like, okay, it's an all-female driven movie. I like that.
Okay.
There's not that many female-driven movies besides Charlie's Angels. We ain't gonna talk about that last one that came out. So I'm gonna give this a shot. It was generic. There was no chemistry between the cast. The dialogue was really bad.
Wow.
It made these actors seem like they were bad actors. And Lupita Nyong'o is a very talented actor. So it's Penelope Cruz and Jessica Chastain, who was an Oscar-nominated, Oscar-winning actor. So I was like, yeah. Now for the fourth one, these are the two I absolutely hated. Fourth one is A Message from Brianna on BET Plus. Now, my girlfriend gave me this suggestion, like, we should watch this. You always say you want to give black art a chance. Like, okay, I'm gonna give black art a chance.
Okay.
And I am fair in my critique. I'm not biased. If it's black art, I'm not biased. I'm gonna critique it like I do any other art. That movie was terrible. It was edited poorly. It had somewhat of an interesting premise. They could have did something with it. It wouldn't have been great, but it would have been better than what we saw. Right. They had Vernon Davis as the lead actor. uh, former San Francisco 49er tight end. So
Yeah.
that was I mean, he should have stayed. He should have not pursued acting because he's not good at it. The sound editing, the sound mixing was horrible. Editing was horrible. It was a lot of I guess misinterpretations of mental illness in that movie.
Got it.
Going back to I say the days of the 1990s and the 80s, how they depicted mental illness. I didn't like that. It was a scene. It was a scene that went on far too long. That didn't really. They could have just mentioned it, and it would have been okay. And
It didn't make sense with the overall cut of the movie.
It made sense, but it's something that I did not need to see, and not for 2 minutes.
Got it.
And it just further proved me that BET, ever since it changed hands. I just have not liked anything that they did.
Okay. Now, got it.
Now, for the number one movie that I absolutely hate is Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I've been burned by these movies, I want to say 9 times now. And the fact that they have a shoestring budget and they said we're going to do the first game and the second game in the one movie, I was like, I don't know how that's going to work. And I saw the movie on date night with my girlfriend, and it was bad. The casting was horrible. The one time I wanted them to get a white man with blue eyes, because that's what Leon is in the movie, they choose to make him brown, and I was like, this makes no sense. He does not act like Leon. None of these characters are the characters I know. And the CGI was horrible. It looked like a CW show. It looked like it was shot on the CW. Horrible direction, horrible dialogue. They just crammed in Easter eggs for fans. So yeah, that was by far the worst movie, my worst movie experience. But hey, I waste money and time so my audience doesn't have to.
So now, look, you used this term several times. Now you said Easter egg. Is that just opening up, so that they can see what's inside?
So if you're fans of the source material, an Easter egg is when they put things from the source material, whether it's a comic or a video game or from recent movies, they'll put it in there for the fans to find.
Got it.
And after a while, there's a way for you to properly do Easter eggs in the movie. And there's a bad way, a lazy way, just throwing them in there, But if you're a smart writer or director, you put them in there, but it's hand in hand with the story. It goes with the story.
Got it. So it goes with the storyline instead of just throwing little hints about, the overall of the movie.
Yeah.
Got it. So, you seem to be pretty knowledgeable in the movie review field. How long have you been reviewing films?
Well, like I said, I really started reviewing films when I started my podcast. But I've always had a love for movies. Even my godmom said that when I was 3 years old, we would just be in the theater all day. And whenever I watched movies with my friends, when I stayed in Georgia, we would talk about them a lot. And then my friend Robbie, like, you talk about movies a lot. Why don't you do a podcast? I said, you know what? I might do that.
Nice. Well, you seem pretty knowledgeable, and you seem to know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to movies and the overall goal of the movie. And then I know that some of the movies, or quite a few of the movies, have a storyline that was probably written in a book and then converted over to film.
Right.
So now I'm going to get your top 5 of the best movies that you have ever seen, or if there is a top 5, You know, in your eye or in your view, is there a top five that you have up there as your creme de la creme
So we're talking about that I've reviewed or just I've seen in general?
that you've seen in general and that probably that you have reviewed, maybe even just from a standpoint of just watching it.
All right. Well, I'll kind of mix it. So it's not gonna be any particular order, but
Okay.
one of them definitely is Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. Goodfellas and The Godfather are my go-tos when it comes to
Yeah.
gangster films.
Yeah.
Like, like the story, like just how engaging the story is, how
Yeah.
you learn about Ray Liotta's character,
Yeah.
and when you learn that it's a true story, even though it's kind of dramatized for Hollywood, it's still interesting what
Yeah.
he went through while he was with the mob.
Yeah.
So that's one of my five. Another
Nice.
another one I would have to say, it's a reason why I just saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, made by my favorite film studio, A24. They're weird and they have intricate storytelling and the dialogue is great. And this movie deals with
Wow.
multiverse, time travel. It has a strong family element.
Okay.
There's a scene there's a scene, a 5-minute scene where you're just talking, where just two rocks talking. It sounds weird, but it is actually a very good scene, and it has probably one of the best female martial artists out there in Michelle Yeoh. And Michelle Yeoh is amazing in this movie, and I just love it. And the actor that plays Short Round is in this movie too. He makes his cinema, his film re-debut, so to speak. And it was just a very fun time. So yeah, that would go there. Now this is gonna be kind of hard. I would say three would have to be Aliens 2 for me.
Good one.
Yes, like I love the first one, but the second one just elevated more, and it made me love Sigourney Weaver's character so much more.
I was going to say the same. Actually, Sigourney Weaver is one of my favorite actors that I've ever seen, and I'm not surprised that's up there, you know, on your list.
Oh yeah, man. It was before the movie started getting horrible. It had the perfect blend of horror and action, and that's what I liked about it. Now, as for my fourth one, let's see. I'm trying to think. I've seen so many movies. What would my fourth one be? I'm trying to think, because when I think of my top five, I think of top five near perfect movies.
Okay.
Dang it. Ooh, this is hard. I didn't realize how hard this would be. I'm gonna just go recent, just because just recent movies I've seen. I'm definitely going to say The Black Phone that just came out with Ethan Hawke.
Really?
Yes, that movie has its shortcomings. It has a lot of shortcomings, but
Okay.
it's a really, really fun. Well, not really fun, but it's a really terrifying, creepy thriller. It's pitched as a horror, but it's a thriller, and it's in the late 70s, which we don't see much of anymore. And like Ethan Hawke, great performance. The child actor, Mason Thames, great performance. Has chemistry with everybody. Is based on a child abductor and this kid trying to find his way out with the help of spirits in the black phone. It's an interesting You would think with all that going on, it's a lot to juggle, and I feel like they juggled it fairly well in the movie, and it keeps you on the edgy seat to the very end of the movie. Now, for my number five, I got to say it. It's in my mind, perfect animated film, Toy Story. The the
I'm
first
with you.
the
I'm
first
with you.
I mean like the Toy Story is perfect. Only thing that Toy Story has against it is its animation, but that's because back in the day it was made for cheap because they did not have faith in it. That's why if you look at all the human characters, they all are just Andy reskinned on a different model.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I love that movie just for some fact of we get to see the life of toys when we're not looking, and Tim Allen does a great job as Buzz. Um, Tom Hanks as Woody is very
yeah,
very fun, and just
yeah,
you get to love the whole cast. And the best part about the Toy Story franchise is that every single one, besides Lightyear, they are very very good, which is very hard to do nowadays. When you have four movies, it's hard to hit on every single movie.
My favorite character, crazy as it sounds, was Lotso. As crazy as it sounds, my favorite character was Lotso because he was like, man, I'd have been here since day one. You know, my heart is cold, but it's cold for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, I really, I'm a fan of Toy Story. Whether the book or the movie, Toy Story 2 was even just as intriguing to me as one was, but one was definitely my favorite as well.
Oh,
So that's it's actually a surprise to hear somebody else, you know, have that up there as their number one because I love Toy Story as well.
I mean, the thing about Toy Story, I tell everybody, people, one thing I hate when people say is that, well, kids movies, they can't be that intelligent, or it's just for kids. And
Yeah,
I think that's complete BS
yeah,
because Toy Story, even in the first movie, it got really intense. You know, it was showing that Woody had an inferiority complex.
yeah.
Buzz's whole life just shattered when he was found out he was a toy, and
Right.
like he because back then you would just call him crazy back then,
Yep.
back in the
Yep.
90s. But now that we're more accept to mental illness, Buzz
Yeah.
was mentally ill, and when he found out he was a toy,
Yeah.
it broke him mentally because
Yep.
his whole world was a lie.
Yep.
And all these movies, they have lessons not for just kids but just for parents. the
Yeah.
first the first movie is you have to accept your reality. You have to accept reality, but you got to adapt to your reality.
Yeah.
Now
Definitely.
the third one, I want to say the third one for me was one of the most emotional ones because it was saying you got to learn to let go.
Yeah.
You got to learn to let go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fourth one, it's like you got to. Now it's kind of interesting because when you look at the movies, the first one you got to accept your reality. I
Yeah.
don't remember the second one that much. I haven't seen it that long, but I'm pretty sure it falls in line. Third one was you got to learn to let go.
Yep.
Fourth one, you got to learn to move forward because that.
Yep.
So I think if these animators and writers, they do so well because just like how we evolve in life, these movies evolve with us, and
Yeah.
it can teach you how to evolve with the times.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are some even though they're animated, there are still really good life lessons in there, and not just life lessons, but the whole storyline is a life lesson. And it goes along with how I see the world.
Right.
And if you miss the storyline, then you miss the entire target of why the movie was created, number one, and then you're gonna miss the little hidden gems that are in there all throughout the movie. So I'm a huge Toy Story fan. Huge.
And And come on, man, it got one of the best songs made from it.
Yes, it did. It did. It really did. My take on a lot of the movies nowadays. I don't. I really don't like a lot of the movies that are made in this day.
Right.
You know, I just turned 44, and so a lot of the movies growing up in my age were Cobra, and with Sylvester Stallone, and one of my favorite movies was Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm from that era where I liked movies that really had a message, and that message was carried all the way through the movie and not just sporadically.
Right.
The movies, I think today, what they do is they have a lot of glitz and glamour, but not a lot of substance. And I think that goes along too, really with music as well.
Well,
I think music and movies, they're kind of synonymous for that from now.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's where you look to, because like I said, I've seen a lot of movies. I've seen a lot of movies. So the thing the thing about it is nowadays everybody the world is more open, so to speak, or woke, how some people like to call it. I don't like that term because that term has been weaponized recently. But the thing, like, these companies, they have to pander towards certain crowds because when you handle certain groups, that get you money. But I will say that there are also some properties out there, TV shows alike, that there's messages thrown throughout there, even though it's sporadic, they still bring it up. Like one of my prime examples is Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's not it's not the best MCU Disney Plus show, but for me, I loved what they were trying to do because it was saying, hey, this country has had a race problem all these years. And the fact that Disney wanted to tackle that, whether it was for money gain or for real genuine reasons, I'm glad that it was said, because that's still an uncomfortable topic. I don't know why it's been in our face, but I love to see it. I love to see how it actually looks if there was actually a black Captain America, because in actuality it would not be like, not everybody would accept it.
I agree.
But and like, for people, one thing I can say about our former president, I'm glad that he let all these people who have these thoughts and racist ideals come forward, because now you truly see how people are. That's the only credit I'll give him, is he had people show their true colors. Now going on to another superhero property is The Boys. The Boys is a comic by Garth Ennis.
Okay.
It was a mean-spirited comic. I did not like the comic. Had great ideas, but it was just for shock value, and it was just mean-spirited. But the show, it took those ideas and it actually expanded upon them and the characters. It showed, hey, what if superheroes were real? Well, spoiler alert, they would be horrible, crappy people. And it would be run by corporations making money off of these people. And if they do bad things to innocent people, they will sweep them under the rug. And I like that aspect, because I've always said that if Superman was real, it would not always be good, because you don't know, because a person is a person. And if that person grows up in a bad environment, power and money is just going to amplify what is already there.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. I love superhero stories that deconstruct, because I've read comic. I'm a huge comic fan, so I've seen all of the stories. So I love to see when they deconstruct comic book superheroes because that's why I love The Watchmen. That's why I love The Boys. That's why I love Invincible.
Yeah.
Because they're deconstructing how we perceive heroes. Because just because they're heroic, just because they appear heroic, they might not always be heroic.
That's right.
And I like that. And that's what made me want to make my own comic, because I used to always complain, I don't see a lot of black heroes. So I said, I'm going to just make my own black hero. And I'm in the process of doing that now because I'm motivated. Like, this pandemic showed me, I work a regular 9 to 5. It pays the bills. It pays well.
Me too.
But I was talking to family and friends, and they were saying, yeah, you make money, but are you happy? I said, well, I'm not really happy. I can afford a living for my daughter, but I'm not truly happy. She's like, well, what makes you happy? Like, well, I like comics, I like video games, I like movies. So, well, why don't you try to do something with that? I'm like, well, I don't know if it's realistic. And they said something that stuck to me is like anything that you put your mind to, you can make it a reality.
Definitely.
And I was always burned in my brain that you had to work a normal job, whether it's being a doctor, a lawyer, or working for the state. But not to go off topic, but as Black people growing up, we weren't shown to, we weren't taught to express our creativity.
Absolutely.
It was seemed as weird. It was either seemed as weird, something that Black people don't do. And growing up, I realized how bad that is, because they're like, Black people, they are very creative. We created rock and roll.
Yep.
We probably created country. Like we created hip hop.
Yeah.
We like, so if I would have followed my creative itch years ago, I probably would have finally had my degree in film. But I took these unnecessary roads. But I tell myself, life is like an unfinished road. It's going to be bumpy, but once it's finished, it's going to be smoothed out. It's going to be an easy ride. So I try to live by that, because I want to build not only wealth for myself, but generational wealth for my daughter. So something my daughter can have and her kids can have. I want to have a legacy. That's why this podcast, which we want to get on later to it in the interview, I plan on doing more things as far as philanthropy goes.
Yeah. And see, now that's where we meet, because it's the same path that I'm on to create a legacy.
Right.
I have 4 children. My daughter's 29. My son's 22, 15, and 7. And so my whole idea, and actually my overall goal, was to create generational wealth, and not just create it, but make sure that it's sustained and maintained. Because you have what you call the one-hit wonders, and you never hear from them or about them again, and that's cool and fine. But I just want to know what I'm very interested to know what they're doing with what they made.
Right.
And my standpoint is that I don't want to just live just to be living.
Right.
I want to live a life so that I can touch the lives and the hearts of other people, not just my own family. Don't get me wrong, is a great, building up, a concourse for them to grow and develop, but also touch the lives of so many others that are in the world. When you hit that word legacy, you hit my backyard. Right. Because I'm all over it. Right. And your podcast, starting in September, it started September of last year, but now I want to get into. Now we got into the movie critics and or that you were reviewing movies and things like that, and we talked about your faves and your tops and then your lows. But now let's get into the podcast and what you see or where you see yourself going from this point on in your podcast.
Well, my main goal is probably sometime this year. I want to coin an LLC for my podcast. Well, not really just for my podcast, but for the brand that I'm making. I'm still working on a name, but I want my podcast to be under that brand, and I want my comic book, the one I start working on, I want that to be on my brand. But my whole plan is sometime this year. I'm looking for Thanksgiving. I want to dip my toe in philanthropy. Like I want to partner with these organizations like the Salvation Army, whatnot. I want to give back to the community, and not just Black community, because everybody. My thing is, my mom always taught me, treat people how you want to be treated, and so when I hear that, I'm not just thinking about my people, Black people. I'm thinking about white people, Hispanic, Asian, everybody. Just because I'm going to give back to my community, yes, but I'm also going to give back to the world, because what people don't realize, racism is built from jealousy and hate. And if you don't try to help each other out, that hate is going to fester in the people that you leave behind.
Absolutely.
Because if you I'm all for helping the Black community, but if you're just doing that, I would tell people, hey, there's starving white kids and Mexican kids out there too. Why not help them as well? You can still be for your community, but still be for the human race itself. Like me, I see myself for the human race. I'm cool with everybody. I have Black friends, white friends, like Hispanic friends, every friend on the spectrum when it comes to sexuality, because I see people as people.
Yeah.
The thing is, my only problem I have is when like Hollywood and all that, they try to force sexuality on kids. Like if it comes naturally, like I always say, the main thing I talk about on my podcast, it was the whole Robin thing. I think we touched on it, the whole making Robin gay. I was mad because you're making these characters gay just to make them gay. Give the LGBTQ community their own character. Let them be an original character to be a staple for them. Like for us, we had Black Panther. Then after, Black Panther was forgotten for years because not many people brought up Black Panther.
Right.
Then Brian Michael Bendis, I think it was him. I think he made Miles Morales. I could be wrong with the creator, but he made Miles Morales. For me growing up, it was Static Shock. I saw myself in the character, and that's what the LGBT community they need. They need an original gay character instead of just trying to pander to them. Because I don't like pandering, because I feel like it's a cheap way out. You're doing it so to not cause any problems.
Yeah.
But for me, I just want to build a legacy on philanthropy and wealth, and like to show Black people and just disenfranchise people in general. You can do it yourself. You just got to put in the work, network with people, find knowledge through other people. Don't think that you're in it alone, because there's some people willing to help you. I'm gonna give a shout out to our man Steven Joyner. He has connections. He could have just like left it be like, oh, it's a small podcast, he's not gonna do nothing. But he saw something in both of us and he decided to help us.
Yep.
People I strive to work with. People that are willing to help others out and to help others grow. Just a big tree that's just gonna blossom over time. That's people I try to go for. I don't try to go for people that's looking for get rich quick scheme, because you can get rich quick all you want, but that money's going to run out eventually.
You know, you said something that's so valuable, man. And I don't know how old you are, but here it is. The way that you talk like an older seasoned guy, probably in his mid to late 50s, going on 60s, and there's not a lot of men that talk like you do, or like and I'm not trying to elevate myself over anyone, but when you know that that you're different, then you move different, you act different, and you talk different. One thing about it is that here it is in this generation. I think there has to be an example of what to look forward to.
Right.
I know most podcasters, and at some point I was trying to do that. I was trying to get celebrity interviews, and this, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I was trying to interview the stars to, lay the foundation of what I wanted to do. But here it is, interviewing celebrities is okay. But what about the people that are superheroes in our own community?
Right.
What about the superheroes that are in our schools daily? What about the superheroes in our police departments and fire departments and in our hospitals here locally? Do we ever give them their flowers while they live? And so those are some of the things, a lot of the things that I look at now, because it's not about, oh, well, I'm somebody major or somebody big. No, I want to shine a light on somebody else that don't usually get the spotlight on an ordinary basis.
Right. And to answer your question, I'm 29. Thank you for the compliment.
Oh my God, man! Look, you are you're an intelligent young man, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with you, even outside of the interview today. And Steve, he connected us. I got to tell you, Steve, and I know we probably, well, we didn't go off subject because this is how we met.
Right.
But with Steve, man, he had posted something in one of the groups that I'm a part of, and I'm like, man, who is this dude? Right. And so I'm looking up, and he was like, well, if you want, interviews, just reach out to me. And I'm like, it can't be this easy, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Right.
So I went ahead and reached out to him. Man, he seemed like the coolest, calmest guy that you ever want to meet. He was like, man, I'm a white dude. He was funny, man, but I loved his conversation, loved his spirit, to connect me. And he's connected me with several people.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Not just you, but I'm talking about, I want to say at least about 25 to 30 people in less than 2 months.
Yeah, man. Like Steve, he has been a godsend, not only just for the interviews, but also when him telling his story to me.
Yeah.
I was really amazed. And even though I don't know the dude, I was proud of him because what he came from and where he's at now. And I can honestly say, hopefully feel the same way, but I see Steve as a friend. And
look, you can call him now. And I said the same exact thing that you said just right now.
Yeah, because like I'm at the point now where I'll just check on see how he's doing, because I know he just went through a surgery. I'll make sure he's straight and whatnot. But that type of person I strive to be. I want to look out for everybody. And I live by a motto that I heard in a Logic song. Funny enough, it was, you don't want to live to work. You want to work to live. And that resonated with me for so long. And I guess the reason why I feel so much more mature than I am is because from a young age, I grew up with a single black mom. So I was the man in the household. I was immature myself, but when I got to a certain age and I realized that I didn't have a good relationship with my mom at one point, I was not a good brother to my brother. I want to change that. And when my daughter was born, it kind of put things in perspective for me, because it's like from this point on, everything I do is going to be for her.
Yeah.
Like I moved to Texas. I didn't want to move to Texas, but I was damn near homeless without a job.
Yeah.
Like I was basically about to be homeless without a job, no car, no place to live. And then my mom said, well, just come here for a little bit and then get yourself back on your feet. So I did that, and I got me a better paying job, far better than what I was making in Georgia. I met a lot of awesome, cool people. I met my girlfriend, who I see a future with, and she's motivated me myself.
Nice.
And I'm just like my co-host on my podcast. I met him in Texas.
Yeah.
So I've had to realize that things that don't go as planned, they're a part of your plan, because every path will lead you to your destination. And as long as you stay focused, then you'll be fine. But I tell people all the time, I even at people at my job, I tell them, man, well, I want to do this and this. Like I tell them, well, if you want to do it, do it. Don't be tied to this place. This place does not control you. You are making a millionaire more rich. That's what you're doing. You're not.
Come on, man.
You're making these people wealthy while you're still at the bottom. Those people, they say that we're a work family. They don't care about you. If you were to die tomorrow, they'll replace you with somebody else.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I had to realize, because I was working on these jobs. I thank the people who were so connected and stuck to that job, and because it showed me I don't want to be that person. I want to be my own boss. I want to treat my employees with respect I didn't get at former places I worked at. So that's why I built this brand. I built this brand not only so I can make a living off this, but for my co-hosts, they can also make a living off this too, if they choose to do so.
Yeah.
I'm not forced to do it. If they don't want to be in it for the long haul, I say, okay, cool. I'll just, like, you can still be a part of it, but I'll find somebody else that's willing to be a part of what we're doing. Because I can't do a podcast by myself. I did it for like 2 episodes. I'm like, this is boring. It's bad. I like talking to people. I can't just talk to myself. So I just been having guests ever since then, and I got a core group, and we've been just love doing this.
Man, look, I love your story, man. Let's stay connected. I left my number in the email, and if I didn't, I'll relook at the email. I think I did, but I want to stay connected with you because I know that there's some more things on the horizon that we can join, together, and then really take this thing to a whole nother level. Because what you're doing right now, you're inspiring me to now rise up above the circumstances that even I go through personally. And so I'm appreciative for your story, your testimony. And man, look, y'all go follow the Bring the Popcorn podcast, man. Go follow that right now. All right. What social, man, give out your social media so that people can go ahead and follow you.
Well, my social media is just type in Bring the Popcorn, and you'll most likely find it. You'll see this lovely logo back here behind me. That's how you know it's me. We are on Twitch. I'm Bring the Popcorn. On YouTube, Bring the Popcorn. Facebook, Bring the Popcorn. Instagram is Bring the Popcorn. Like, everything is Bring the Popcorn. And we have a merch store. It's on TeePublic. TeePublic is our merch store. And just type in Bring the Popcorn, or I think is TeePublic / Brang21. I think. I want to say, I'm not too sure, but we have coffee mugs, hoodies, T-shirts. If you got a baby, we got onesies, laptop cases, magnets, phone cases, and the good old coffee mug, just so you can taste all that Bring the Popcorn goodness.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, this was another exclusive spotlight interview with my main man, Jason Craig. Man, thank you so much for joining us and coming on and giving us your time. Man, you a true blessing to the industry. Keep on, man. Keep on bringing the popcorn. Man, I appreciate you. And we'll definitely talk real soon.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. I've had lots of fun. I'm addicted to this podcast and stuff. So
there you go.
This was no problem.
So again, look, ladies and gentlemen, look, again, this is the Life Show Podcast. I'm your host, Tyrone Brown Jr. We get ready to get out of here. Have a great and safe 4th of July holiday weekend. Look, man, light